here from DIYDork.com. Today I want to show you how we completely transformed the butt-ugly, terrible, overgrown landscaping outside of our barn house and just completely redid it with a really clean and simple modern design that just makes it look like a totally different place. So check it out, it turned out great. Alright, so now it's time to put in the aluminum trim that I bought, and I already worked it here to kind of see how to install, and it's actually not very difficult at all. So here's what it looks like. It's probably about a 4.5 inch wide piece of aluminum, real simple. On the ends, it just has this weird little cutout here so that they can slide together. So what happens is they'll just slide and overlap a little bit. You can see I made a corner here, and then what we did is dug a trench so that the aluminum will stick up 2.5 inches to where we want the gravel. So we're going to put 2 inches of gravel, and they recommend this stick up an extra 1/2 inch. So we dug the trench along those white lines that I had painted the other day, and then we're just lining it up. And then where there's a corner, what we learned, you just mark it, and then you take a saw. I'm just using a sawzall, and I'm cutting up halfway, and then that way we only have to bend top half, and it turns out like this corner here, a real nice crisp corner. And you can see how it's cut down here and then just bent up here, and then all the pieces slide together. Then when you install it, these little slots are used for these huge stakes. You just drive them in, and it's real nice and solid, and then you just backfill. Real simple. So doing that, and then be ready to put the black stuff down. Alright, that piece is staked in, and that's what it looks like all finished up. Not too bad, that was actually pretty simple. So now we just got to do the rest of the house, and I'll just show you real quick what it looks like all finished, and then we'll move on to the black landscaping fabric. Alright, so all of our aluminum edging's in. That went down pretty well. So now it's time for the black landscape fabric. It's real simple, it's 3 feet wide. You just unroll it flat and just hold it down with these little spikes. So I'm just using my little knife to cut a little slice in there so it'll poke through real easy. And just hammer them in place. Nothing to it. Alright, so I'll put a few more of them in, cut the other black pieces so it's all covered, and it'll be time for gravel. Alright, so we got all of the landscape fabric down. It looks really nice. Wraps around the deck here, and over across the front, and then all the way around the side and around the back as well. Now before I put gravel down, what we're doing now is getting these barrels set where we want them for plants. And what I'm going to do is that little circle in the center, I'm going to cut that out, and then cut a little bit of a hole in the fabric as well, so that way the plants that we put in there, the roots can go down to the ground and draw water from there. Because we learned that we're terrible with plants, and we're not good at keeping them watered, and they just die on us. So we're going to try to keep as low maintenance as possible. So I had gravel. It's a 1 inch clean rock is what they called it. It's just the stuff like you'd normally use on a driveway or whatever. And I had it delivered, and now I just gotta scoop a bunch and put it here, and I'm gonna level it out to about 2 inches right here. Then I need to build my step that will also be filled with gravel and a couple pavers, and then just figure out where to put the pavers in the ground, and then it'll be all ready to go. Alright, it's been a couple days, but I finally got the gravel done and took care of some other things around the house. And I apologize for the wind. It got really windy and cold today. But as you can see, the gravel looks really nice. Got it nice and level. Got my little bird sculpture back there. Got dirt in here. We'll fill the rest with topsoil and some kind of plant. This big rock right here, we're kind of using it as sort of like a secondary step. The main step's over there. But just, you know, to put something here like for decoration, and it will kind of work as a step. Alright, the deck itself, we went ahead and added clear coat to it just to get it done now because I'm building a step and I thought it would be hard to get in between there to add it. So I went ahead and just clear coated it. Now the problem is that it doesn't match the siding, which I thought might happen. So when I re-oil the siding before winter hits, I think I'm gonna have to darken it up a little bit to match this. Alright, so anyway, the step. Kind of a cool idea. It's a blend of the stone surrounding, the wood deck, and the concrete pavers, and I thought that worked really well. So I just had some leftover deck boards, so I just cut them down so that they're basically 2 inches bigger than the stone, the concrete paver design we're doing here, which you can see it's divided by a 2x4, and then I just built this to have a 2-inch surround all the way. So what I'm gonna do is take more gravel, fill up this box, then these pavers will float on top. They'll be sunk down just a little bit, but they'll be, just a smidge above the step here, and then it'll be filled in with gravel around. It'll look really nice. Now the stones here I want to just kind of sink into the ground, but I feel like I need a little more dirt, especially like here in the corner. I think it's a little low, so I think I'm gonna pull these away, level it out with dirt, drop these in, and then put more dirt so that it's basically level to these stones, which are I think like 1.5 inches thick, 2 inches, something like that. I want dirt to come just about right here, just so these just barely stick up, and then we'll plant grass and all that. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I'm gonna have to like flag it off and all that, but I think I need to do the dirt first and then mess with all that. Alright, so the step is done. That was really simple. Not too bad at all. It's a little dusty, but I think once it rains, it'll clean all that off. So now I gotta mess with the pavers and then I'll be done. But like I said, I gotta level out the dirt first. So I have some dirt over there that I dug out from when I built the porch. And I'm gonna try to chop it up and make it fine enough that I can actually spread it out here, make it nice and level, and then start setting these. So I'll do that next. Alright, now I got all that dirt nice and level, so it's time to do the last step, and that's put in these patio blocks here. So I went ahead and laid them out roughly where I want them. I also ran a string. You can just barely see it, but right there I put a little metal flag and I tied a string to it. And I brought it over here, and I have one here as well. And what I did to mark that flag is I just measured from the siding on the house all the way over to the edge of this stone right here, this patio block, and it was like 81 inches or something like that, so I made sure this flag was at that same spot too. Then when I ran the line, I can make sure that the edge of these patio blocks line up to that. Now also, I'm just using 2x4s to space, which is about 3.5 inch spacing, and it actually somehow miraculously worked out exactly perfect. And so what I'm doing is I'm just measuring from the aluminum edging right there over with that block, putting this one in so it lines up with that and lines up with the string, and then I'm just spacing them just like that, as you can kind of see here. Alright, so then if you remember earlier, I said I want to sink these into the ground instead of just floating on top, so that way grass can grow up and they're not going to shift around all that. So what I'm doing, it's actually pretty simple. Let me show you. After I lay the block in place where I want it, I just have been lifting it up. Actually, let me move these real quick. Lift it up, and then I've just been taking my little shovel and just scraping it away until it's nice and level. Alright, smooth that all out of the way. And I put it back in, and I make sure it lines back up with the string, and that the spacing is still okay. And then I also try to make it level to the string. It looks like my back end's a little high, so I'm going to dig it down a little more. And then once it's settled, and it's exactly where I want it, then I can take the dirt back and just fill in between there. And just fill it back up till there's about that 1/2 inch of block above the ground, and then when they're all set, I'll throw some grass seed on them and we'll water them and go from there. But anyway, I was trying to figure out, a simple way of doing this, and it's not too difficult. And I know over time they're probably going to shift and all that, but I think that's okay. I can redo it later with maybe actual poured concrete blocks later. but I think this will work for now. So I'll do the rest. It'll probably take me all afternoon, and I'll show you what they look like when they're all set. All right, check it out. I got them all set, and they just barely float above the ground, maybe a ½ inch or so. And like I said, I spaced them with a 2x4 this way and that way. So I did this row first, then I went back and started this row. Put a 2x4 there, a 2x4 here, set that one, and then I started spacing all the others. So now it looks really nice and nice and level with the driveway, and then it also looks nice and level with the aluminum edging here. Alright, so then you can also see we threw down some grass seed, and I don't know exactly what the green stuff is. I guess it keeps the grass seed down, but we were surprised when we opened the bag and it wasn't just seed. But anyway, did that, we watered it. Hopefully some grass will grow before winter hits. The other thing we did is we put our pots back, and just for the time being, we threw some mums in there just to have a little color. And I know they'll probably die out in a month or two, but we eventually are going to put some tall grass back in there, probably next spring, and then just keep it. The roots should go down into the ground, and basically we'll just keep that forever unless they die out. Okay, on the side, I want to show you one more thing we did. All right, we actually bought some grass for here. We put 5 in. We got 3 tall ones and then 2 shorter ones. And that was real simple. We just scooped away the rocks, cut an X in the black fabric, and then dug a little bit of a hole and then buried it and put the rocks back, and we're going to keep them just like that. So imagine this taller grass like that in these pots. Actually, let me see if you can see this. It's this stuff right over here. See that big tall bushy thing right there? We have some of that we can put over here. So anyway, there we go. Landscaping's all done, grass seed's down. Hopefully it'll grow before it gets too cold, and the house looks completely different. I'll try to put up a before picture so you can see what this whole house used to look like before we finished. It looks dramatically different now, and now it's way more functional. So we got the cool little stepstone there. I have this all clear coated now. I need to add clear coat to that, and it'll deepen the color so it matches. And also the same with the wood framing up there. And then right here, now we have a functioning little kind of faux sidewalk and all kinds of stuff. So I think the outside house is just about done. Only thing we've got to do now is a patio in the back and fix a railing around the steps in the back, but that'll probably be next year sometime. So anyway, there you go. Turned out really, really cool.